Hello, come on in. Sit down. My name is Onyx Turner. Very few people have ever known of my existence, so I doubt you have heard of me before today. I am, well, I was a freelance mercenary, spy, or whatever else one might need, for I possess a particular skill that no one else has ever had. I am a shapeshifter. After many years of retirement, I have decided to make a record of my exploits, and that is what this is. Welcome to the Turner Chronicles. Chronicle 2. Location: Munich, Germany. Business District. Time: 3:30 p.m. Objective: triple assassination. After my success in Abu Dhabi, I headed to Munich, Germany, where I had a client already waiting. He had a mission for me, and I was eager to accept. Assassination of 3 high-priority targets. My timeline: 3 hours. Not a problem. They would be meeting at a cafe around when everyone was getting off work. So naturally, I got a suit. Had to have my exit strategy in mind. Due to the uniqueness of the strike, I had to have a good weapon for the job. After talking to a few of my underworld contacts in the area, I finally settled on the G3A3ZF designated marksman rifle. Brilliant piece of machinery that I believe will serve its purpose well. I was in position a half hour early, as they all started arriving around 4 o'clock. It worked out perfectly. The officers were starting to let their people out by that point, and people were getting ready to go home. This meant there were a lot of people wandering about in suits. All 3 targets arrived and stepped out of their quite extravagant cars, along with 2 bodyguards each. Total of 9 hostiles. I only needed to take out 3. If I placed my shots carefully enough, this would be over quickly. I'd be headed on a plane somewhere else before the afternoon was out. I lined up a shot. I was using a low-power optic as to not draw much suspicion, and because I could not find a high-powered one on such short notice. Contrary to popular belief, the black market is not magic. The men all ordered a combination of coffee and tea, one for each of them and one for their guards. This was very casual. I was surprised. These men are well connected, and I thought would be a lot more professional than this. I lined my reticle up on the first one, the one I believe they said was in charge of the drug distribution. I slowly inhaled and held my breath. Halfway through, I paused, hesitated, felt the afternoon sun kiss my skin as I readied a shot. I fired at the first one, dropping him, and quickly switched targets to the second one. Fired almost instantly, and switched targets to the third. At this point, panic had erupted, but I still managed to get off a third shot, which hit my target. People were running, screaming. It was the perfect place to make my escape. I was ready. I'd planned for this. It was all falling into place. I left the rifle up there. I no longer needed it, and I didn't care if they found it. The fingerprints I have right now will be changed in the next couple minutes. I quickly made a dash for the stairs and got down to the bottom floor as quickly as possible. There was chaos in this cafe as well, not unlike what I saw through my scope. I rushed outside along with several other patrons, and on the way out, copied the features of a man inside onto myself. Running with the flow of the crowd, I started getting as far away from the scene of the crime as possible, and then I looked back. One of the cars had driven off as if it was protecting someone. That should have happened. I thought I had 3 kills, but if that's not... No, they had to be dead. There's no way That bullet missed. Nonetheless, I had to verify. All 3 targets were dead. So I turned back towards the cafe and started running alongside a couple police officers. They tossed a questioning look my way, but kept running nonetheless. Upon getting there, I saw 3 guards and 4 bodies. Wait, that's not right. How are there 4 bodies? I fired 3 shots. One connected with the first man, I know that for a fact. The second shot. Could I have missed the second shot? Had to have been, because I see the first and third men are my targets. I don't know how I hit 2 wrong targets with my second bullet, but I must have. This doesn't leave me much time. Of course, I would have to miss the one man who could get out of country within an hour. Just my luck. I have to get to him before he gets out, or I don't get my pay. I'm not very keen on missing my pay, because not only does my bank account suffer, my reputation does as well. And up until now, I've never failed. I don't plan on failing today. I turned away and left the scene. The police would handle that, and they would look for a man who clearly doesn't exist anymore. I got into my rental car that I'd purchased with the other identity and left. I had a contact that would tell me where I needed to be, or where my target was fleeing to, so I stopped by and checked with him. I was right. I missed. That's ridiculous. I should have... No, I did everything the way I should have. This was a fluke happening, the smuggler's luck. Oh well. I can keep a cool head. My time's limited. My contact told me I have about 42 minutes remaining before he gets out of country. But I still need to find a weapon, and then find him. Thankfully, I still have contacts all over the place. So, I go to my next contact, a weapons dealer, based in this downtown district of Munich. He's able to supply me with a Scorpion machine pistol on short notice. It'll have to do. It's not my favorite weapon, but I know how to use it at least. I have 2 magazines of ammunition for 1 target, more than enough. If nothing else, I'm effective. By the time I have my gun, I have only about 36 minutes remaining. I have to move fast. I have to find where he's planning on leaving the country and get there before he does. I know that his chances of getting out of country are high, as he's a smuggling boss. Why did I have to miss him? Well, I have no choice. Airport's the most obvious place, but that's where he'd want me to look. I have a contact down at the port. Well, I'll hope I have a contact at the port. I have not talked with him in a few months, so it is possible he is dead. It's always important to check up on your contacts. That's one thing I have forgotten many times, and it has cost me. After a detour down to the docks, I checked with him. Nothing. No smuggling whatsoever. Well, that leaves the airports, as I know he's not going to use the ground. It's too obvious, too many roadblocks, too much potential for failure. I guess the obvious choice was the right one, after all. Who knew? There were 3 airports in the vicinity that I was aware of. It's a possibility he was using a secret one-way. I doubt it, as this man is too well connected for that. So I check with one last contact. By the time I'm done, I have 13 minutes left, and I have a 10-minute drive to the airfield that I know he's taking off from. I'll have a 3-minute window to kill him. I don't like that. I'm good, but I don't like to leave things up to chance if I can avoid it. I don't know how I'm going to get more time, because I cannot stop the sun in the sky. Or can I? I can talk to the air control tower, make them pause the flight. Well, it's worth a shot at least. As I'm driving there, I call up the control tower. I tell them that I believe someone is trying to steal my plane, so I want them to hold it. They asked for my identity and credentials. I was prepared. I had the information of my target. I always do my research, and I was able to give them the information they desired. They held the plane. By the time I got there, it was still waiting for the green light to taxi. Perfect. I drove my car straight up to the plane and exited the vehicle. I knocked on the side of it. As it was a small passenger jet, I was able to reach it. The pilot dropped the plank, and I walked in. I was stopped by a guard at the top of the ramp. He wanted to know what I was doing there. I shot him. He dropped instantly. I heard the pilot swear, and I fired a shot into him as soon as he came out of the cabin. I glanced in. No co-pilot. Strange, but not unheard of. I knew that my target must be in the back, so I opened the door. There are many times that I've had to essentially dodge bullets because of operations that have gone wrong, and that has honed my reflexes to be very, very fast. Faster than almost anyone on the planet. But even I was not able to get out of the way of the bottle of champagne that was flying at my head. The best I could do was dodge so that it hit my shoulder. Now, I was very frustrated at this point. Not only had he defied death by dodging bullets earlier, now he had just ruined my suit, and I was getting quite fond of it. He saw the fire in my eyes and put his hands up. He wanted to bargain, pay twice what my employer had paid. Yet, there's one thing he didn't understand about me, but he was about to. I cannot be bought when my reputation is on the line. If I have taken a job, then I have taken a job, and I will see that job to the end. I told him this. I saw a look of resignation on his face. He understood that this was the end of the line. I asked him if he had anything he wanted to do, any last goodbye to say, and he said no. I nodded my head. That's always good. No connections, no last goodbyes, no one to look for him once he was gone. I raised the scorpion up and fired one bullet into the center of his forehead. I admired his attitude at the end. He didn't cower like many had before him. He faced it head on, but just because I admire someone does not mean that I could neglect my job. I took a picture, sent it to my client. After doing so, I copied the features from his guard and shoved all three bodies in the back compartment. I shut the door and slid into the pilot's chair. Putting on the headset, I radioed to the tower, asked for permission to taxi, as I had the situation under control. They granted it, and I took off. Next stop, Seoul, South Korea.